Okay, say you want to convert a number into Babylonian or Mayan or something like that. Again, you still need to know what base you're in. So if we're doing with Babylonian, it's base 60. So it's kind of helpful to make a little, place value chart of the different values that we have here. Right, and again, these would be like your singles, which would be worth 1. Their longs would be worth 60. 60 squared would be 3,600, and so forth. Okay, so our number's not that big, so we don't have to worry about too much. So if we're going to do our little place values, we're going to try to make the biggest shape we can. And if you notice, one flat or one square shape would go in there. So we have one of that place value. So again, if you're going to do division, you could see that one goes in there. And then what's left over is what goes forward to the next place value. So I'm looking at this and saying, okay, there's this many blocks left that I could group in another way. And again, they group by 60s, maybe because of time. I don't know for sure why. 3 would be 180, so that looks good. And I would have 12 left over, so there would be 3 of those. And then 12 is my singles, so I'm happy. And again, they would be okay with like 1 through 59 there. They wouldn't be okay with a 60 here, but they would be okay with 59. Now again, they would think this is a stick, and I don't know, maybe they would think that's, who knows, a snake in a weird shape. These symbols they didn't have, so you can't write the answers is because in Babylon, these numbers wouldn't have made sense. So again, they use kind of a tack for 1 and some type of, I don't know, little triangle or birdie looking thing, and sometimes it's upside down. I've seen it a couple different ways. So I'm just going to use these. But again, some type of triangle-y thing and then like a tack. So this would be 1. And again, it doesn't mean you have 1. It means you have 1 set of 3,600. And then 3. Right, which again means I have 3 sets of 60, and then this guy is where you're going to have your little triangle depending on what textbook you use or whatever, how that's going to look. All right, so again, this is kind of my singles, and then this is like their next place value, which is worth 60s each, and then this is your 3,600, and that would be in Babylonian. Now Mayan, unfortunately, Mayan is a modified base 20. So they have 20 to the 0 power, that's their singles, which is fine. Then they have 20 to the first, which is great. And instead of 20 squared, which would be lovely, they decided to go with an 18. People think it might be because of 360 days in the year is what they thought, so it's possible. But then after that, they start, multiplying by 20s again. So we call this a modified base 20 because it's base 20 except for that 118, but that 18 sticks around for a while. So these are your 1s or your singles and your 20s. And then this would be 360, which again, probably coming from days in a year. And then this would be, let's see, I got a 20 and a 20. What is it? 7,200. Okay, one other thing is you need to remember that they also wrote their numbers vertically. So starting with the singles and working their way. All right. So say I give you a number, I don't know, 7,342, and we want to write that in Mayan numerals. So if we look at this, I can see that one of this place value would go in there, and so it would go in there 1 time, and I would end up with 142 left. And notice that none of those go in there. So now my 20s. And again, sometimes you can just look at these and be like, oh, 7 is 140 and get it that way. Or you could do division, long division if several times. It's up to you. But right there. So I know 7 of those go in there, and then I have 2 left over. So that's it. And again, remember, you can't answer this because those symbols make no sense to that culture. So you have to kind of look at how they wrote their numbers. So they would have had 2. And then they would have had a 5 with a 2 for the 7. And they had a little football looking thing for the, for the 0. And there's your 1. All right. And so this is my answer. So I have 2, I have 7, I have a 0, and a 1. And that's how you would write that in Mayan.